Right, more clean water, another clean towel, dry towel, and now I need to work on the background. And as you can see from my photograph, it gets very, very dark within the whole plant, and I don't see any of the leaves particularly precisely, so I'll probably be going over the leaves a little bit as well, apart from maybe a few at the edges. Trying to make it look a little bit realistic, but not sticking to reality totally. Right, so I've taken the masking off my little centres, so I think all they need now is a little bit more life in there, but I don't want to go over all of my little light areas that I left, the white stamens, because they'll help to bring some light in, but I'm just putting a little bit more yellow sort of around and between them. There we go, loud again. Right, so a little bit of green as well, just to give a little bit of depth right in the centre there, to take the eye into the centre of the flowers. I've not painted the stamens precisely at all, just indicated them, because it suits the picture better, I think. Right, well, that's it. I could do with just a little bit of a wash there to separate those petals, which is the sort of thing you can do now while it's dry, without going too far, but just bringing back a little bit of definition and looking at the shapes that you've made. But I haven't got lots of time, so I don't think I'll do very much of that. Right, we need to bring the flowers out, we need to put some depth behind. So I've got some indigo out. I've mixed that at the edge of my pink mix. It's a nice dark blue, but if it isn't dark enough, you can put something else with it to darken it. A little bit of variety would be quite good. I've also got the dark green mix that I use with the Payne's grey and the cadmium yellow, so that might be quite nice. I've also loosened up my burnt sienna in case I want to pop a bit of that warmth in. Right, so I'm going to start with the centre. I don't know if I'll get it all done. Let me start the thing. I don't want to have to go into more than 3 links for you, but you'll get the idea. So I've wetted that central little patch there and just dropping in the colour. If you've got a tiny patch like this, you don't necessarily have to wet it. You don't have to wet it at all. It's just that I find that it's a little bit easier to keep the light in, and also the paint won't go past the shape that you've made with the water, so it's going to help you to get the shape that you're actually looking for. If you just pop a little bit of water down first, and you can actually now reshape your petals and leaves with popping the background in at the same time. I would suggest going darker right in the centre and maybe getting lighter as you go out towards the edges. Going to go really dark up in there. So nice pointed brush. Don't worry if some of the colours from your stalks and leaves blend into it, because actually I haven't had time to let it all dry quite as much as I would have liked, really. It's quite a good idea when you've created your picture and finished your flower painting and the leaves, allowing it just to sit for a bit to completely dry before putting the background in if you don't want it to bleed, because actually it does all take a lot longer to dry than one would really imagine. It sometimes feels dry but isn't. So I might end up with some fuzzy edges, but never mind. But if it is completely dry, it's much easier then to reshape your petals and leaves if you need to with the background, because you can paint right up to them. See how it's bringing out the colours and the shapes of what I've already done. Indigo actually is a really nice colour for backgrounds. And it looks good against the pink. And you can soften it down to a much lighter blue at the same time as keeping it dark when you need to. Hello, we've gone loud again. Nice music though. Right, so going over some of my leaf shape here now to reshape them a bit. It's nice to try and let a little bit of light show through your background, because that makes it look natural and not flat and blocked in. And then just use water on occasions as you get further out towards the edge of your picture, where you maybe would like your background to look a little bit lighter. It's a good idea to go back sometimes to make sure that what you've done one side of something like a stalk or a leaf is the same tone as the other side, otherwise it starts looking a little bit patchwork-like. Tiny space here, so I won't wet it. Again here. I like the shape of that one. That's come out nicely now. So all I'm trying to do with the leaf and the foliage really is to let a little bit peep through my background and not, I don't want to create too many precise shapes there. I just want to give the impression that the background is all jumbled in with each other and everything else that's going on. Soften with water. Bringing it out, but very, very lightly. I don't want much background showing at the edge here. Hardly anything. See how it isn't dry yet? And it's blended. Never mind. Do remember that it's watercolour and to use water. Just water on occasions. Oh, that didn't start. So what do you think? I've had about 10 minutes? Hang on. Don't want to mess the whole thing up now. Oh well, whatever. Too many things to think about. Right. I need to take it lightly out to the side. This is the indigo when it's actually nicely watered down and creating a pretty blue. But nevertheless still helping to create nice shapes in and around the flowers. Watering the edges away so that you don't see very much of anything. So lots of lovely variation going on in the background here, which again helps to prevent monotony. Bring the background round and over that clump of foliage there, hiding some of it. I definitely would turn it upside down. I may have to in a minute. I realise this is a little bit challenging. I know some of you will be happy with it, but I would say if you're a beginner, don't try for anything quite as complicated as this just yet, but to maybe take a little section of whatever plant you decide to paint. Just take a small section of it and try just a small piece in a similar way to the way I've painted this one. You're much better to paint something simpler and well than try for something too complicated and end up disappointed. But there's no reason why people who've been painting for quite a long while shouldn't have a go at something like this. And then you just have to deal with any disappointments that might crop up, as I do. So this is quite fun really, going around, hiding some of these little leaves, and especially ones that you don't like the shapes of, hiding them in the foliage and just popping some background over the top. And when it's dry, it's going to actually look quite nice, I think. I may have to paint another clematis because it actually has come out a lot more since I've brought these in. I've got lots more now than I had. And I've got some other ideas in my head now that I would quite like to carry through. Right, I'm going to I'll deal with the bottom first then. And I might have to turn it upside down. I'm not sure how much time I've got left now. Just pop a little bit of colour in here. Just to break the monotony. I may have to do what I said I wouldn't and stop and finish it and then pop it on again, because I think I am going to run out of time and I don't want to create 3 links for you to have to watch. And I think you've got the idea. I've done the main area there in the centre, so I think I'll stop in a minute, finish off this background a bit more, and then come back to you. So lots of water here. Maybe a little bit more of that burnt sienna going on. That'll sort of indicate maybe light branches or something. Don't want to go right to the edges of the paper, so if you find you've gone too far, just dab a bit away. Right, I'm going to stop, finish the background and come back to you. Okay, background more or less complete, and I think the end result is more or less what I was hoping for, shape-wise, etc. I might have preferred a little bit more foliage going on, but you know, it's difficult. So all there is now to do is to decide whether or not you actually do want to put some pen around. So here's the focal area. This is obviously the best place to go to create a little bit more definition. So I would use a fine pen. This isn't as fine as it could be. Hold on. Yeah, this might be better. So this is a 0.5. I don't think it requires anything very much, to be honest, but you know, you could just create a little bit more definition through this focal area if you wish, or you may do what I often do: when you reach this point, decide you like it as it is. Optional extra. But you can be a little bit scribbly with it, and you can maybe put a few more stamens in, and you know, a bit of an outline maybe, and some marks within the petals in this area here. But don't go around it really carefully and precisely. Just be a little bit scribbly with it and bring some looseness back in. Maybe with the stalks, they could perhaps do with a little bit more of something. Because before, when you were watching me paint, some of this blended because it wasn't dry, so I decided I'd let the rest do it as well. And I'm not necessarily happy with that. So if you don't want something like that to happen, you must allow the whole thing to dry before you start painting in your background. Right, I think I have to stop now. But I think I preferred it in many ways without the pen on it. But then I prefer little watercolours, really. That's up to you. Depends on what your picture turns out like. But that's it, and I hope you can see what I've done, and I hope that you'll have a go. But as I said, you don't have to take on anything quite as complicated as that. Maybe take a small section of the picture of the plant and create something like that. It's quite nice. But it is nice to try and paint it perhaps as it grows, rather than to pick them and put them in a jar or something. I think this looks a little bit more natural and gives you another, you know, string to your bow to be able to do something that's trailing. You may not wish to put a background on, and if so, you'll end up with something that looks like that, with a nice light background, which is fine. But with that one, I did actually draw it with the pen first and everywhere, and so that's got pen around all of it. All right, so that's something you've learnt to do already. So that's it for this week, and I won't be with you next Monday either because of the 5 Monday month. And I'll be back again though on the 7th of June, can't believe it, and I'll be covering glazing with you, which is a technique that builds up colour, changes colour underneath using transparent colours, and I want to try to cover that and help you to use that technique without creating overworking at the same time. Alright, so 7th of June I'll be back, and look forward to being with you again then. Have a good 2 weeks, and I shall so look forward to seeing what you paint. Have a good week, and still stay safe. Stay safe. I should do some bloopers, shouldn't I? A little outtake section for you. Anyway, I'll see what the tech team says about that. Have a good week, everyone. Bye.